Tinfoil hat. Oh, what the fuck are you guys even talking about?
Global controls will have to be imposed, and a world governing body will be created to enforce them.
Welcome to Tinfoil Hat. We go deep, homeboy. Aaron, open your mind. Drink from the fountain of knowledge. There's lizard people everywhere. That's some interdimensional shit. Wake up, Aaron.
This is only the beginning.
Dude, you just blew my mind.
Are you ready to get your mind blown?
Good morning, Swarm, and welcome to Tinfoil Hat. You know I am. You know what I'm here to do. I'm here to rock. Joining me as always, Xavier Guerrero, and on the ones and two, Jay Nice, Juicy Johnny, Johnny Woodard, live from the Wise Wolf Gold and Silver adjacent studios. That's right. Go to SamTripoli.gold, use the promo code TINFOIL, and you too can join the Wolf Pack and get precious metals sent to your house for as little as $50 a month. Listen, if you want to see me live, go to SamTripoli.com. I'm going to be at Comedy Chaos tonight. Okay. Then I'll be at Skankfest at the end of the month. Then I'll be in Louisville, Kentucky, Tampa Bay at the end of the year, and in Cancun, Mexico. SamTripoli.com. Click the events. And today's guest is Cody Tucker. It's a great conversation about Hollywood cults. Let's get into it.
Drink from the fountain of knowledge.
Okay, so he's got a great show. We're very excited to have him on. We connected on Instagram. We've been dancing the dance to try to make this happen, and here we are. Dreams come true, manifestation. He's got a killer show. Please welcome to the show, the first time on Tinfoil Hat, hopefully of many times, Cody Tucker. How are you, Cody?
Hey, man, doing good, man. I really appreciate you having me on. Looking forward to it.
I am so excited to have you on. I gotta be honest with you. I've been following you since I follow you on Instagram. I've been watching your show grow, and I just love what you're doing. And can I ask you where are you? Where are you out of? Do you mind saying?
Yeah, East Texas. I mean, it's like a small city, Longview.
I love that, dude.
Yeah,
I love that, dude. I mean, like, I just got into. Anyways, I'll get into it. But for Cody, for those, I just think you're an American dream, dude, and I freaking love it. I know it sounds corny, but I really do believe it, dude. Like, you came up with this like idea and you went for it, and you created a brand, you created a business, and you're doing it. So I'm super happy for you. Cody, for those who may not be familiar with you, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and where our listeners can find you?
Yeah. So, I mean, you can find me on YouTube. I have the Cody Tucker Show, which is the podcast. And then Instagram, I have, that's where you'll see like all the little reels, the like history and, kind of random stories from the past, like word origins, like the dark side of Hollywood, like all that kind of stuff. Those are on YouTube as well, but yeah, mostly on Instagram. And yeah, I mean, a little bit about me. I've always been like a huge pop culture nerd, history buff. Like went to school for history. The plan was to become a history teacher, which I guess kind of happened in a roundabout way. But yeah, and I mean, that's really about it, man. I just kind of try to keep a wrinkle in it as much as possible.
I love it, dude. I love it. I've been watching your channel grow. Now, you interview a lot of attractive chicks.
Yeah.
Congratulations on that. How's that conversation going?
It's pretty good. I actually was just doing it because I used to be a part of a different podcast a long time ago, and someone reached out who was in the adult film industry to be like a guest, and they didn't want to do it. They're like, oh, it's going to look bad or whatever. And I was like, fuck that. I mean, I want to. And then I also had a friend who his girlfriend and me got into an argument about her saying that they're just like horrible people and that porn's horrible for you and all this stuff. And I was like, I don't think that's really probably true. It's probably pretty up and up, like above board in most cases. So I just reached out to some people to ask if they'd want to talk about like what it's like. And then they just turn out to be like really nice people. and fun to talk to. So I just kind of kept it going.
I love it. It's very interesting with pornography. I am very honest about my struggles with it, you know, and it's like really weird, man.
Yeah.
Because when I'm out of LA, I have no desire to look at it. And then I fly
Really?
back into this hellhole of low vibrations. And I'm just like bored. I'm like, oh, I wonder what my friends in their holes are up to, you know?
Okay, so this is kind of weird. So anybody that I've ever had on the podcast, I won't ever watch their videos again.
Dude,
I know that sounds weird maybe, but yeah.
I get that.
Yeah, it's like, and I don't mean it in necessarily a bad way. I just kind of like I don't know. There's something about like not knowing the person makes it kind of half the fun.
Well, they go from being like a dick pincushion to being a human being.
Yeah, because you're projecting everything that you desire onto that person, but when they have a personality and actually something in there, it's what they are, right? Yeah, that makes
that's
hardcore pornography. I look at it the same way I look at like bare knuckle boxing. Like it is brutal to watch. It is like really hardcore stuff is brutal to watch.
I mean, I don't get into like super intense stuff.
Yeah, I don't watch it anymore.
I'm pretty like mild mannered when it comes to, I don't know. I like a good production value, you know. I like
front of the page. I like front of the page. I don't know categories. I don't need to do too much. Front of the page will do it.
I'm with you. Yeah, I kind of have like certain people that I like. So I'll just kind of like might look up that person's name.
So you saying that if that person hit you up, would you have them on the podcast? Because then that means you can't jerk off to them anymore.
Yeah, I still would. I mean, I don't know if you know this or not, but there is a seemingly never-ending cycle of up-and-coming porn stars. So I'm sure I'd be able to find a replacement.
Yeah, you know, it's a real struggle. You know, I definitely feel it's a low vibration and like a low vibrational activity. You know, I used to have a show called The Naughty Show way back in the day. And, you know, I've always liked dirty comedy. Always.
Yeah,
and, you know, this had to be like 13 years ago in LA. And, you know, everybody was trying to be Seinfeld at the time. And I was like, no, dude, I'm a dick joke comic because I was living a dick joke comic life, you know? And I always wanted to go on stage and talk about what I wanted to talk about. So, but you get to these crowds, it's very weird how it's like it's changed, but in a weird way, it's still the same. So I go on stage, I do a couple dick jokes. Some of the crowds will get real quiet. So I'm like, how can I do a show where I know people are going to come enjoy dick jokes? So I'm like, you know what? I'll have adult film stars in the show. That way, if you don't like dick jokes, you're probably not a big porn person. And, you know, this is, you know, at the time, my mindset. And it went great. It like blew up. It was like huge. And now, you know, you saw a lot, suddenly LA, everybody's doing dick jokes and maybe I created a monster or something like that. Not that I was the only one doing it, but, you know, but I got to know them. I got to know a lot of these girls and a lot of them are just trying to figure out a way to change their trajectory financially, you know, and I'm, you know, there's a lot of people want to ban pornography. And I go, okay, but you know, it's just going to go underground and it's going to get even like worse.
Yeah. Anytime you ban something, you don't erase it. You just make it a criminal activity and criminals become attracted to it.
Yeah.
It's just going to go underground. You know, and it like, again, I know there's going to be some people yelling out and I get it, dude, because it has affected my life. I get it. But the point of this ring is like, they are normal people. And the girls tend to be normal. The guys in pornography tend to be like slit your throat, like jump over dollars and make dimes. They had no clue of like the long game. Everything was quick buck. But, you know, we can get into like what pornography is and why is it free? Why is it everywhere? Like you know, and it's not just pornography. So I'm flying with my kids back from Delta. And I go to the kids section, okay, of the free movies they're giving away. I go to the kids section and I'm going through and I hit, my daughter's like, SpongeBob. I'm like, okay, let's watch It's in the kids section. I shouldn't have to worry about anything. I hit play SpongeBob. And the next thing that comes up is a warning. Could have some, I forget the exact word, but along the lines of some suggestive content.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm like, but I'm in the kids section, man. Why don't I worry about this?
But then also, what does suggestive content even mean? Like suggestive, I mean, I know that
I'll
could
give
be
you an
such a
example of what was
mild
there.
thing. Okay.
There was one scene where a woman is walking. Well, it's a fish woman is walking with a fish man.
Right.
And somehow the guy goes from having, I forget where he takes collar, but he puts the collar around his neck and he starts being walked by her, which is so obviously BDSM. I mean, it's so obvious that this was BDSM they were referring to in a kid's show.
To an adult.
Right.
I mean,
do you understand? Like that's the suggestion that's what we're going on. This is the undermining of what what is being done to us culturally. In my opinion. You know, it's just super interesting. Like I got a real an interesting discussion with some good friends of mine over the weekend. And they kind of sat me down, and you know, they're Christians, and I love them very much. And they were kind of asking me like, why do you gotta do this conspiracy show in a weird way? Like, are you kind of spreading like negative energy instead of positive energy? God's word. I go, well, you know, there's a lot of people who go to church who got the jab.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Right. I mean, if they'd listened to the show, they wouldn't have gotten a jab.
Yeah. Yeah. I regret it for sure. I mean, I did it. I got hypochondria, you know, kicked in, and I just said, oh, I better do it. And yeah, boy, what a mistake. I mean, my life is filled with a lot of mistakes. So I guess that's just one on the list, but yeah.
So Cody, let me ask you something. So, you know, I'm watching this clip today on Instagram. It's my friend Leonardo Jones, and she's on the Whatever podcast. And that's where like guys interview just OnlyFans, and they get in these arguments, and you know, and they're discussing feminism and the intelligence roots of feminism. So the question I want to ask you is, do you think any culture is naturally happening?
Any culture is naturally happening?
Is culture natural, or is there a hidden hand like the intelligence agencies almost behind every cultural movement?
That I think that the grassroots of any cultural movement come from, I mean, like the very seed of it comes from just your regular people wanting to do something. I think intelligence organizations, you know, CIA, FBI, whatever you want to say, immediately once that thing starts to get some kind of foundation, just swoop right in and take it over. I think they all usually come from a good place, like an authentic, genuine place.
Oh, I like that.
They become corrupted by people whose job is to corrupt, you know, things that actually seem to be working.
I agree with that. I think they see a movement starting, and their job is to kind of co-opt it and install their own people.
Yeah. Which they have, forever.
Yeah, I don't think the government's smart enough to I don't think they were smart enough to start off gangster rap or NWA. I just think they saw it and they're like, oh shit, we can run with this. And then they jumped on it, gave them money, gave them radio time. Because I don't think they got the idea of like, oh, we can get them to start doing this.
Right, exactly. And they didn't, I mean, it's the same with like the hippie movement in the 60s, the anti-Vietnam movement. I mean, they 100% were infiltrating that movement in so many ways. And it was because it was working. Like that movement was making an impact. I mean, people were looking unfavorably towards Vietnam, which at the very beginning was a very small group of people who were anti-war. Like most people were still coming off of that World War II, Korean War. You know, war is patriotic. We love it. It can be brutal, but it's, you know, we're fighting for glory and all this crap. Then Vietnam comes along and you still have a little bit of that, But then people start getting like the reality of, oh, this is like, there isn't a real enemy. Like, there's not a Nazi that we're fighting. Like, I mean, we're kind of fighting people who, I mean, are communists. Like, okay, are they evil because they're communists? Like, or they just think something differently? Because they're not Nazis, they're not putting people in concentration camps. They're just communists.
Yeah, so, and you're super young, so you probably never saw this movie. But have you ever heard The Fog of War?
I know what it is, but I've never seen it.
It's I mean, I remember I was so young. I would just moved to L.A. and I don't know when this. Johnny, will you look up when The Fog of War movie came out? Because I know it's way younger. I don't know how younger. If I was still in my 20s at that time.
You're talking about the documentary?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was. I think it was the early 2000s. Hold on.
2003.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So I just turned 30. I was like 31 at the time. So this is 20 years ago, right? A little over 20 years ago.
Yeah.
And I remember that McNamara on there, and they were talking about how like the Gulf of Tonkin never happened, and that they realized later on. This is what he's saying, that China and Vietnam never got along, so they were never going to work together. And then you kind of start going deeper into it. And we've had people on the show talking about how like the real reason we went into Vietnam was the golden triangles of opium. And like, where have we heard that ever since? Right. Which is now like Afghanistan. So it's like, what is the real reason? And then what are we told to sell it as a patriotic duty? And I just feel like they use these game plans and they manipulate us. But you're totally right about the hippie movement. It started naturally, and then it kind of got co-opted for sure. And for me, it's like, and we're seeing this right now. I don't know if you guys been watching this Venezuelan gang stuff. Have you been seeing how
Colorado? Yeah, it's
where it's like people are now going, is it really that what we're being sold at, or is it really a slumlord who won't fix anything? Right. Yeah. Like that's on the table. But one of the people behind like just organizing everything is this communist chick. This blonde communist chick who is just a rich kid.
Yeah.
So we start getting into this, like, here we go. Like the Cultural Revolution of China, we have it happening right here in America. And it just gets into this subversion that we see going on that started way back in the hippie movement, And like, we can get into like what Charles Manson, well, what do you want to talk about? Like Charles Manson and stuff like that?
Well, that's definitely a huge part of it that's a lot of the conspiracy around like how far the CIA started to push things as far as the hippie movement and trying to sort of diminish it and make it, at first make it just seem like it was a bunch of drug addicted kids, which it really wasn't at the beginning. The hippie movement started out as like on college campuses with, educated, like young kids. And then it turned into, a bunch of people covered in mud with, long hair. And the CIA kind of had a huge part in that, in like manufacturing LSD and having the LSD infiltrate these groups who otherwise weren't doing really any kind of drugs. And then, planting people who would kind of subvert those groups. And one of those people they planted was Charles Manson. Charles Manson obviously is like a career criminal. By the time the Tate murders happened, he had spent more years in jail than out of jail in his whole life. Like he had been incarcerated in some form for the majority of his life. And he's, charismatic, enigmatic person. So they just took him and pumped him full of a bunch of crazy ideas and sent him out.
It's crazy, dude. It is crazy, that whole situation. And it actually goes early because I feel like Charles Manson is the kind of the end of the hippie movement. I feel like the beginning of the hippie movement involves Laurel Canyon, all of those rock stars. If we even go to like kind of what's coming out of England at that time, which was the Stones, the Beatles, all that stuff. What was that? Travistock. We got the Travistock movement going there. How do you pronounce it?
No R. Tavistock.
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 New York as well, though, with like the Beatniks, because that's even earlier. And they were they were some of the first people to be like an anti-war, anti-overarching government, in as far as like in the arts scene, like Bob Dylan and, all the Joan Baez and people like that. So that was already happening. And then a lot of those people came west for that scene, like the Laurel Canyon scene. But then even like the Laurel Canyon scene, most of those rock stars, their parents were high-ranking people in the military. Yeah. Morrison's dad was the admiral. Like Jim Morrison's dad was the admiral for the Gulf of Tonkin.
It's so crazy to me. Hey guys, real quick, I want to tell you about our boy James McMahon and Copy My Crypto. Listen, guys, has it pissed you off to watch crypto fly up in prices for a decade and you still have done nothing about it? It makes sense. Crypto is complicated and really boring. Well, here's the good news. You don't need to know a thing about crypto to make money like so many have. The CopyMyCrypto.com membership site shows you the exact cryptos that YouTuber James McMahon personally owns, which means you just got to copy him. It's like having a big brother who knows what he's doing. You don't need to know a thing about crypto or how to invest. Just simply copy along. Okay, so let me tell you a little bit about James. He runs the Crypto with James YouTube channel, which has over 54,000 subscribers. In the summer of 2020, he told his viewers to buy 26 cryptos. Had you put $100 into each, it went on to be well worth $123,000. Of the 26 cryptos, his top pick of the year, the one he singled out called Phantom, went up 692 times from when he said to buy it, okay? That one call alone has retired a number of people, including guys in their 20s and 30s. Remember, this is public knowledge. You can go to YouTube and verify for yourself. So if you'd like to join the 2,800 members who have copied James, then pause what you're doing and head over to copymycrypto.com/TFH. That's copymycrypto.com/TFH. That's TFH. You'll not only find proof of everything I said, but my viewers will get a full access for just $1. Yes, you've missed out on Bitcoin, but there's over 2 million other cryptos. Do you really think you've missed out on all of it? Guys, don't waste your time. Go to the site and read it. Once again, that's copymycrypto.com/TFH. Guys, it's ended money worries for so many. It may just do the same for you. Copymycrypto.com/TFH. For most of us that like to collect cards, the idea of spending $2,000 or more on a Luka or a Mahomes rookie card just isn't in the cards. I love collecting, always have since I was a kid, but that's some serious money to drop. Thanks to slab packs from arenaclub.com, now it's possible to score gem mints for a fraction of the retail price. Every card that I listed was hit from last week's Arena Club slab pack drop. Arena Club is the only repacked that proves real value, a complete view of all possible cards, and a clear hit rate for each one. Johnny, what have you been doing on Arena Club?
Well, yeah, as soon as I found out that we were working with Arena Club, I was stoked because I had heard about it for a while. And what they're saying is absolutely true. Their slab packs, they drop them twice a week, and they're fantastic. Literally, the first time I got a slab pack, it was this Mike Trout, only 5 in existence. It was a PSA 10 red, worth like $1,000, and it was $100 slab pack. And I've gotten several other hits like that since then. I have my whole collection on there. If you want to come find me, I'm at Johnny Woodard on that thing. I think Johnny Woodard is the name of the showroom. Come check it out. Since then, I've added a ton of cards. I love it. You can keep track of them all there. If you want to bring them home to you, it's really easy to request they be delivered to your house. I've sent cards in for grading. It's a wonderful service. Big fan of Arena Club. And like I was saying, Arena Club slab packs are revolutionizing the repack game with transparency. After your pulls are revealed, they're immediately placed in your showroom for safekeeping, selling, trading, or even to put up for auction. That's a new thing. The Arena Club grading process is accurate, fast, and transparent with a full grade rationale provided, an explanation of how your card was scored. Whether you're buying, selling, trading, or displaying, Arena Club is the card collecting platform you gotta check out.
So here's what we need you to do. Right now, you can get 10% off your first slab pack or card purchase by going to arenaclub.com/tinfoil. That's ARENA club.com/tinfoil for 10% off your purchase. Enjoy it. So if you go even earlier, and I pinned that thought right there because that's super interesting because we're seeing it all starting to play out right again, even in the internet, right? So if you go to like Operation Long Leash, which is the CIA wanted to give the illusion that democracy allows for more artistic freedom than communism. So then you get into these guys like Pollock, like Noam Chomsky, who I loved as like in college, like reading his books, Manufacturing Consent and all that stuff. They were all basically funded by the CIA.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, there's so many movies that are funded by the CIA. I mean, like pretty much any military movie is completely paid for by the US government. Like, it's
so sneaky how it's done too. Like, just think about how naive we were, even like 10 years ago, 15 years ago. We were just like, they're just reporting the news, man. They're just putting out entertainment. They're just trying to entertain us. They're not political. You're like, fast forward 15 years later. I'm watching fucking, what is the latest Mad Max movie? What was it?
Furiosa,
which wasn't that bad of a movie.
No.
It's just like, why? Like the woman they got to play the badass, you could not get more waif model than that.
Is she 100 pounds? I mean, it's so silly just watching her.
She is so white and skinny that she's almost invisible. That's how, like,
if she turns sideways, she just disappears.
100%. And you're like, why are you can't get like a cyborg chick to play this or Gina Carano? Just give me a little bit to believe in.
Even Charlize Theron was, at least, she existed. You know what I mean? Physically.
Charlize Theron definitely fits the bill. I mean, she's like almost damn near 6 foot. Like she's
Australian. Have you been there, dude? They're
South
all
African,
Amazons and pregnant.
Yeah, South African.
Yeah, she also I mean, she watched her mom kill her dad. I mean, she's been through some stuff.
I like her. Yeah.
That gets back to there's always something, right? There's just always something weird going on.
Yeah.
There's always some weird connection. Like, I was talking to a friend of mine the other day, and he's like, I gave him a huge compliment on one of our shows. And he said that he like failed to get, he goes, thank God I failed to get auditions. And I go, you didn't fail to get auditions. It's just like, you just didn't realize how rigged the system is in Hollywood. It is so rigged, right? Yeah. It's unbelievable. And that's why we just consistently start seeing the children of these oligarchies and these military these military families in the positions of power constantly.
Oh yeah. Hollywood is an interesting one. It's more anything involving like the government and politics. That's where it's like, okay, this is, because I don't really mind if there's an actor has a son who's also an actor. I mean, all right, like big deal. But like a head of a CEO of a company who has a son who becomes a lobbyist, and all, that's when things get like, oh, this has an effect on my life. Like Dennis Quaid's kid being in Scream 6 is not changing my life in any way. I mean, more power to him. But some prick whose kid is now a lobbyist for his dad's industry, things could get a little screwy with that one.
It only gets weird if they hide it. Like, to me, it's like, why are you changing your name, dog? Just own it.
Yeah.
Just own it.
Yeah,
Okay. You're going to
yeah.
audition for your classmates who went to the same school.
Yeah.
It's just the way I know, like, dude, like this whole thing with LeBron James getting his son on the Lakers. Like, I'm conflicted, right?
Mhm.
Because as a guy who has children, I would do anything to help my kids get to where they gotta go. So as a dad, I understand that. As a
Mhm.
lover of the NBA and this belief that only the best make it in there, it kind of destroys that.
Yeah, it does. It's different whenever the kid has the talent. And, obviously they may get a foot in the door because of who their dad is, but their talent is on par. That motherfucker he ain't one of them. Like, it's just how it is. And LeBron, I mean, I'm not like a massive LeBron fan or anything, but if his kid was really good, I'd say, yeah, you should be there. But nah, he ain't one of them. I mean, there's kids down at the park that can play better than Bronny.
He's gonna get every opportunity to make it. But what's really weird is when you start to get into this, and particularly Hollywood, you have, multiple generations of people working in there. And like, hey, dude, everyone goes into family business. I really get it. Okay. But when you start to get political after that, that is annoying to me.
Yes.
Like if I see another rich kid tell me that they want their taxes raised, I'm gonna lose my effing mind.
You can put in to pay more taxes. Like, you can put down, I would like to pay this amount more. You could put in 100% of your income into taxes if you want to. And no, they want it raised for everyone so that they can still use their little tax shelter and look like they're fucking Robin Hood. And they're not. I mean, they're, like Warren Buffett, that prick. I mean, he is more than welcome to pay as much as he wants in taxes. Like, the government is not going to say, oh, we don't want your money. I mean, but no, he wants everybody else to pay more so that he can still hide behind the fact that people want to believe he still lives in his fucking 40-year-old house and all this crap.
And the truth is, like, these rich kids probably have the same accountant that their parents have that figure out all the way not to pay taxes.
Oh, those accountants are in family businesses. Like, their grandparent accountants were helping their grandparent, scumbag businessmen. Yeah. Like, it's all just like a one family tree that comes down to help other family trees.
Oh, like the Smiths, like Will Smith and their kids. I think those kids are eventually going to go into politics somehow. Somehow you're going to see one of them run for candidacy, and then you're like, oh, look, now they're in policy and they're in politics. It's gonna be crazy.
Can you imagine that Willow Smith running for office?
Could you imagine that?
Governor Willow?
Yeah, come on.
Yeah. Hey, y'all think y'all have a problem with old news?
This nation needs a bisexual, biracial fan. I mean,
whip my
dude,
hair back and forth, and I lower taxes. Can you imagine?
Yeah, and then they're doing all this. It's like, it's so crazy to me. Even like, and then you get into the diversity issue in the in Hollywood, and then you start getting into who actually gets the gigs, and it's like all rich diversity kids.
Yeah, who aren't going. Schools. Yeah, they're not going through the same thing. Yeah, they're not going through the same thing that, like, a Hispanic kid who comes from like a poor family is going through. Like, your dad's, this millionaire. Like, your life is all right. Like, you're not the one being affected by like a lack of diversity. Like, I
really do think it's rich kids waging war in the middle class right now. Just rich kids who were born into a world, okay, of just where they never had any needs ever. Mm-hmm. And they're just like able to like fantasize, like just kind of like culturally jack off to this fucking like this fear of the shadow in the cave, So they wage war against middle class people. Like, as you try to save the planet, or as you try to like, what was it? Like, I forget who said goes, Kamala Harris could do this. I wouldn't care. I'd still vote for her over Trump. You're like, that's so insane to me. And I don't think Trump is the savior either. But I mean, we could sit there and have a conversation. But the fact that you like, even if you admit your candidate sucks, you're still going to vote over because the theory of something is so nuts.
Yeah. Yeah, that's ridiculous. I think there is nothing on this planet more dangerous than a rich kid with nothing to do, because they like whenever I'm still young, obviously, but whenever I was like teenager, high school, obviously I was very idealistic, just like any teenager is. And I thought I was going to change the world, but I was, lower middle class. There ain't much options I had. If I came from a family of like millionaires, oh boy, I could have done some real damage. Like that's what's dangerous. Like these people that, being in Hollywood's one thing, but yeah, whenever your kids are now getting involved into politics, it's like, yeah, you can actually fuck up someone's life with this.
So it's like it's just basically these LARPs they put in positions, these live action role players that they put in these different positions, and they push certain narratives. And when they need narratives pushed, somehow, some way, they get a message, and they just start spouting this craziness.
Yeah,
their job is to send culture in certain directions. Even if it means destroying brands, they don't care as long as their message gets pushed out. And like we're seeing all these brands just destroy themselves with like wokeness. Like even Harley Davidson's like, what are you talking about, bro? Like
what?
Like who is your audience that you're going woke?
Wait, what they do?
Yeah, what they do?
They did some gay pride shit, and dude, like nobody's buying their bikes right now.
Well, I mean, to be fair though, they dress. I mean, the average biker is, dress like every single person
leather
at a
daddy?
pride parade. So yeah, I mean,
That's a good point.
Yeah, they all got the Rob Halford collection. So, I mean,
yeah. It tells you how powerful the forces must be that influence them to embark on campaigns like that, because they know that from a financial perspective, it's not profitable to do that. We've learned that. That's been well established by now. The go woke, go broke thing, it's trite, to say, but it's quite true in everything we've seen, so the forces that are pushing them in this direction, to make these ridiculous woke campaigns are clearly, profit is not the primary motive there. There's something, more essential to.
Yeah. But never underestimate the power of bad publicity.
Look at this.
Bad publicity will make people do some wild shit. There's news plan.
This is crazy.
Damn.
And like this is the debate that Johnny and I get into all the time, and Johnny just playing devil's advocate, but it's like I think they do this to get in favor of these giant investment firms. And there's, everyone debates what role does BlackRock have in forcing culture. And it just seems to me that when your demographic is the opposite of the LGBTQ karate, whatever it is, right? Okay. That why do you have to do that? Why does Bud Light have to go woke? Like your demographic is like frat boys who can't afford real beer. So they just buy your piss in a can.
That's it.
Can it just be that they're dumb? I mean, you know what I mean? Like, can it be that they just think in their minds that they're making the right decision, and that it's just a bad move? Because businesses do that. I mean, like, McDonald's has done it. I mean, Coca-Cola with, new Coke. Like, it does happen where companies just make a real tactical error. But it does seem like there's more with like woke. There's more to it with like whenever a company tries to go woke than to just try to change.
Like, who they couldn't make them, who wouldn't do it? Chick-fil-A.
Hell no.
Why won't Chick-fil-A and In-N-Out, why do they stand their ground? Why can't anyone else? They make money. They make their loot. I don't understand why they're like, I don't know. It just makes weird because I know you couldn't get In-N-Out and Chick-fil-A to do it.
Seem like they have their roles to play in the culture war too, don't they?
They do. It's just the opposite side.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Non-linear warfare.
Yeah. The loyal opposition,
Interesting. But it doesn't seem like, again, we've said this forever on the show. We seem to be in this business era
Yeah.
where it's like you're not really trying to reach your crowd. Like going back to Hollywood, like we've discussed. I mean, it's just like you do stuff about female Jedis on Disney, and then you greenlight another female Jedi show, and your audience doesn't want it. Like Hollywood is the only, and this is what I get in arguments with, and this is what frustrates me about Hollywood all the time. It's like everyone's bitching about this, but nobody wants to say anything because if you get one red light in the process of getting hired, you never work. So you have to bend over backwards. Like, yeah, like 5-year-olds should be able to get sex change at fucking surgery. Yeah. Yeah. I want to host a new show called Animals Do the Craziest Shit, and like that's the only way you get that role. That's the only way you can host a show about animals doing crazy shit. Is if you say 5-year-olds should be able to get sex changes.
The amount of children in Hollywood, children of like Hollywood stars who are going through sex change operations is wild. I don't know what like the national average is, like the rate is gotta be super low. But there's this little pocket in the US called Hollywood where holy hell. I mean, it just seems like every kid of a celebrity is trans, which I mean, maybe it's just an anomaly, but I don't think so.
Do you think that? I mean, like, no, dude, it's not an anomaly. No. It's like a participation trophy.
Yeah.
It's the new Boy Scouts. I mean,
right? It's so crazy to me.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just the like virtue signaling that goes into so much of like the decisions where it's just so obviously pandering. Like all of these, like the Disney, like the Pixar stuff is just so obviously pandering to, this group that as small as they actually are, have such a powerful voice in getting people to do stuff that is going to ruin their company. It's just, yeah.
Well, I mean, this doesn't clarify, but there's 21 in this little article, 21 celebrities who are proud of their trans and non-binary kids.
Jesus Christ. Oh, Liev Schreiber, he's pissed off.
Yeah, I know.
Well, Sherry.
Well, Chaz Bono's like the Rosa Parks of this shit.
Yeah, she had a addictomy back in the early 2000s.
J-Lo in there too.
J-Lo has like 3.
No, that's Megan Fox. I think that's Megan Fox. But has 3. Yeah,
Megan Fox. They kick you out of your house if you're not trans. And that like the opposite.
When the mom lays out the clothes, it's like all the opposite sex clothes.
Yeah. Oh, look at this one, a union.
Yeah, Dwayne. Yeah, that one. That's a. Yeah,
he's got to watch out for Dwight.
And then all of a sudden now he's calling games. He's he's got his own a ridiculous game show that he's running.
New kind of sacrifice, isn't it? Genital sacrifice. Hey man. That's not nothing.
Hey man, do you want to live nice? You want your parents to live nice? Play this game.
Yeah.
Some would say it's better than a full sacrifice.
What?
Some would say it's better than a full sacrifice.
Is it? I don't know, dude.
Look,
I think but when we get into this like MK Ultra cult stuff, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think they knowingly do it? Do you think someone whispers in the air, you gotta do this? What do you think it is? Do they just kind of read the room?
In what sense? Like whenever the CIA is doing like MK Ultra stuff to people?
Well, CIA occult stuff, like when you see all this like dark art shit, involved in Hollywood. I had a discussion with my good friends and they kind of lecture me because I would always say it's like God versus fallen angels, and they had a real problem with that because they think God if God wants to come down and just wreck shop, right? That's their opinion. I understand what they're saying. But I do believe there is a part of Hollywood that is like worships the watchers, like they're watchers, and they worship this dark art shit. My question is, do you think somebody pulls them aside and tells them that? Do they figure it out? Do they just try to act a fool? Like, do they just start virtue signaling? Because I saw friends of mine in comedy who were really dark on stage, and then just one day they just stopped and their careers just exploded?
That's yeah. I know it does seem like those changes are never gradual. Which, you know, in a if it was an authentic change is usually pretty gradual. Like when somebody, you know, gets better at something or changes the way they do something, it's usually not an overnight thing, but it does seem like a lot of those times it is overnight, which would imply someone is forcing the change, that they, you know, they didn't just have an epiphany. Epiphanies rarely happen, that it's more just someone said, you know, you might want to play ball and things will work out a lot better for you.
100%.
Yeah. Yeah. I wholeheartedly think that that's the case for, say, 90% of the time. I mean, of course, there's always anomalies. There's always, you know, outliers, but 90% of the time, for sure. Yeah. I think that's a huge part of it.
Hey guys, listen, man, you know, I'm trying to get in shape. You know, I'm trying to work out. I'm trying to lose this perma-fat, and I'm healthy, but I'm not hardcore about it. I just want to incorporate better habits into my life, like getting more nutrition in my diet. And our next sponsor is a big part of that. Okay. I want to give a shout out to our sponsor, Orgain, which makes it easy to do just that. Orgain is a leader in real protein powder nutrition that understands that being good for you doesn't mean you have to taste bad. Orgain's founder, Dr. Andrew Abraham, believes that real nutrition has the power to make a difference in people's life. Abraham left his medical practice and founded Orgain to create foods and beverages that offer better nutrition for people everywhere. Listen, I work out all the time, and if I don't get the proper nutrition, my body gets wrecked. You know, I'm doing jujitsu. I'm doing Thai boxing. I'm learning to kill with my hands. Okay. I'm getting ready for the zombie apocalypse, and I got to get the right protein in. And that's where Orgain comes in. Holla at your boy. Guys, what do you guys love it?
I love it. I haven't told you, but I love taking it right before tinfoil hat because you need some protein for your brain. That's it. That's how I come in with these good questions sometimes. Thanks to them.
I love it.
Yeah, and I know, Sam, you've been starting doing more weightlifting. I've been doing some weight training, and protein's the key to that. From everything I've read, protein is the key to making gains. So, and there's nothing more convenient than having it in a bottle of Orgain.
So listen, check out Orgain's 30-gram protein packs. They are available at Costco or Orgain.com. If you want to get in on delicious protein-packed nutrition today, head to Orgain.com/tinfoil hat and use the code tinfoil hat for 20% off your order. Once again, that's Orgain.com/tinfoil hat for 20% off, and make sure you use the promo code tinfoil hat so they know we sent you. Then you get into those blood sacrifices and you're like, I mean, like how so many of these people have weird deaths in their family, like weird deaths out of like nowhere.
Yeah.
Like just like they're kind of famous and then bang, this death happens and suddenly they're super famous.
Yeah.
And it's
Kanye.
so weird.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Kanye's the biggest one, man. Yep. That one is, to this day, I don't get how they wouldn't have just made a better excuse of her dying than to say she had a error with plastic surgery. Like, that's
at her house.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was at her house.
Dude, Kanye blew up after that happened and became different. I mean, I'm sure Kanye was always a little weird, but he became very different after that happened. Of course, your mom dying is going to do something, but it's just, there was something always off about that to me. Like, that's how she died. Huh. And then you just become so famous. Like, yeah, that's a weird one to me.
You know, it's a weird one. Jennifer Hudson. You remember that, dude?
Oh, it was her brother, was it?
Like something her family. Like, you know, she was like American Idol, and then suddenly, bang, all that. And now she's like getting, she's like, I don't know if she won an Oscar before or after that. I'm pretty sure it's after.
Wasn't it for Dreamgirls after that?
What's that?
It was Dreamgirls, wasn't it? Wasn't that after that? Like
was
right
that
after that,
Johnny?
I think so. Let me see what year is.
Damn it, Johnny, you're the worst.
Dreamgirls is 06. And then let me.
Yeah, because it was the Oscars in 07. is whenever she actually
And
won
the murder
Oscar.
was 08. So
So right
Okay.
after.
yeah,
Wow.
yeah. It says on October 24, 2008, the bodies of Academy Award winning actress Jennifer Hudson's mother and brother were found in the family's home. Now, I don't necessarily know that. I mean, I think you make these pacts
Mhm.
before, you get your fame, but I don't know necessarily that the price is paid before.
Oh,
You know
I
what I
would
mean?
just think that could be
Yeah.
after. They'd be like, she'd be like, "Damn, dude, I got this. I didn't even have to lose anybody."
Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
a favor to the Godfather. You know what I mean? He's
Like
like, hey, this time may never come, but
Yeah.
I will call upon you, and your family's gonna get murdered. So
It's the 27 club, basically. I mean, because that's how
Yeah.
that works.
I
Like
mean,
you get the fame, you just only get it until you're 27.
Yeah.
It's super interesting. You know what else that happened to Megan the Stallion? And I remember
I'm sorry,
Larry.
Stan. It's Megan the Stallion.
Okay.
Yes,
Sorry.
thank you for correcting him, Johnny. Thank
My
you.
apology, guys. What was the name of the running back that we had on, Johnny? Lawrence.
Larry Johnson.
Larry Johnson. And
Yeah,
I remember
great, that was him.
Larry Johnson was going really hard at her about her mother passing, and then bang, she just blew the fuck up.
Yeah. There's something to that. There's something that happens like with a lot of these people. Like I don't know what it is. Like it happens, and then
It's so crazy to me, dude. It is so crazy. And then, it's just like, again, it's like if there's no God, like everybody, well, then why does the other side worship the enemy? If there's no God,
yeah.
I think the biggest argument for God is the Satan worship going on with all of these power structures, whether it's Hollywood, banking, governments, like this dark art shit. You see Chelsea Clinton going around with a cross upside down. It's like crazy to me.
Yeah. Well, it's a lot of it too is like whenever you get into like occultism and Satanism is whether or not they actually are worshiping like Satan or an idea of Satan. And that in that idea, they themselves are a god. Because that's what most Satanism is like it's like the Aleister Crowley kind of like I am my own god, the will to power, it's like Nietzsche, I think, and all that kind of stuff. But then they still do some of the same like weird ritual shit. So it's like, well, what are you doing that for then? If you don't think there is a Satan, then what the fuck is this ritual? And yeah.
All the people that worship Satan all just seem like nerd dorks or fat chicks.
Yeah. Or Marilyn Monroe. Yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
was she a Satan worshiper?
She used to be in a relationship with the guy, Anton LaVey, that made the Church of Satan. Her and
That
Jane
chick
Mansfield.
slinged pussy to every major influencer out there.
Everybody.
She was oh my God. She
Yeah.
was banging movie stars, baseball. Joe
Mhm.
DiMaggio.
Well, it's funny. Joe DiMaggio, if you ever watch his quotes about her, like he knew that she was getting in with some dark people and like really feared. I think he's the one guy that really loved her because he does that thing where he sent flowers to her grave like every week or twice a week for the rest of his life.
Yeah.
Like, he just had flowers sent and changed on her grave for the rest of his life. And I think he even had a standing order like after his death, possibly. And there's a lot of quotes around that time that he was devastated by her death, and he knew she was getting in with the wrong crowd, and was
Dude,
just
that guy was just fell in love with a hooker, like he just did.
Yes.
Dude. He
Yes.
just did. Like that's the guy. That guy, Captain Save a Hode. He tried his hardest. We've all had that, dude, where we just we fall in love with broken toys.
Oh, and he found the number one. I can see it. I mean,
The only one I would say was over her is probably Courtney Love.
Oh gosh, I mean, what a mess! What a mess!
Both have a lot of trauma in there. Like, think about this, dude. Think about how beautiful Marilyn Monroe was, and nobody wanted to adopt her. Is that what you're telling us? Nobody. You walk in, and the brightest of white light is just sitting there. You're like, nah. I mean, I would like really. It's a lot darker than that, dude. There was something going on that she couldn't find anyone to adopt her.
Yeah. Yeah. Or anyone to stay with her too. Like, cause people can, you know, you can put up with some stuff if somebody looks good. And I mean, and all these dudes were just like some of the ugly, you know, and I'm no, George Clooney or anything, but some of these dudes were, boy, I mean, DiMaggio might be one of the goofiest looking people on the planet. It's like he couldn't keep Marilyn Monroe. Like the other guy, Arthur Miller, that wrote, The Crucible.
Yeah.
Like he's another one. I mean, all these guys, like,
well, she's kind of the muse, right? Or there's something about her that is like her purpose is to inspire great men. I don't know. There's something with her energy that she has to be around men who've like accomplished things. I mean,
that's the Courtney Love thing.
In general, they love that, but
yeah. But that's the Courtney Love thing too, is that she's like the grunge version of that, because she was with like Billy Corgan, and I mean he wrote a lot of like
she got a hell of an album out of it. Actually, an album and a half. Yeah, I mean those couple of whole albums are okay, and she got basically given to her.
I mean, and that's another thing. Nirvana. I mean, what I grew up thinking they were versus what I learned later on is insanity to me. Insanity, dude.
Yeah.
So they have another drummer. Somehow he decides to leave right in time for Dave Grohl to step in there. Okay, Dave Grohl, great drummer, but his dad, like the funniest thing about this whole thing about Dave Grohl going, you can't use my song. It's a song. It's like your dad used to write for Ronald Reagan. Like, what are you fucking talking about, dude?
Yeah. Yeah. Dave Grohl's a suspicious character as well. He's a little too loved. Anytime someone just becomes like universally loved, I immediately am like, red flag. There's got to be something up. And I think he's the guy to point fingers at more than Courtney Love for like the Cobain thing.
Well, bro, I mean, you look at a guy who lost 2 people along the way.
Yeah, well, yeah. The Taylor Hawkins thing, I think you could definitely put a lot of that on Dave Grohl for sure.
It is super crazy. But if you study it, so Ronald Reagan's kid comes in, joins the band, grunge band, right? He invests heavily in the what?
Ronald Reagan's kid?
Ronald Reagan's, excuse me. Ronald Reagan,
he was one of his speechwriters. Right. Yeah.
Joins the band, invests heavily in the band. Dave Grohl's dad. Oh, no, excuse me. Courtney Love starts dating Kurt Cobain. Her dad, who was the manager for the Dead, was roommates with Geffen back in the day, who ends up signing the band. It's natural. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Like, it's so stacked. You can't get mad.
Yeah. Oh, and then it's just crazy. Like, we'll just say that instead of saying that they were just some band from Aberdeen, Washington that got lucky and got their big break. Yeah. Yeah.
Shucks. I wish it worked out.
I mean, like, yeah. There's so much.
What do you guys think about the number one Satanist, Kat Von D? She became what do you think? Do you think she went through some trauma? You think she just saw some things? I always wonder what happened with her. She got baptized, sold her mansion in LA.
Mm-hmm. Covered her tattoos. Yeah. She did I think that people because I used to like look into like Satanism and stuff like that. Just like curious, like what do they think? All that kind of stuff. Fascinating about like Anton LaVey. It is a very addicting like philosophy, because the whole philosophy is like make yourself a god. It's full hedonism, whatever you want to do, as long as you're not hurting someone, which they even toe the line on that. But it's like, it's intoxicating to be a Satanist, to like really dive into that. But it is dark. I mean, it makes you feel dark, because like ultimately you're not supposed to feel that way as a human. You're not supposed to feel that you're a superior being than anyone else. And I think over time you start getting into circles with people who are just not good people, who hold on to it. And then you see like how intense it gets. You're like, oh, okay. This is not like just some, gothic fantasy thing. This is like, it actually is very for real.
I know in LA here, there's a divide. I can't remember. It's between the Church of Satan and the other organization, because one of them are kind of like a group. They're more like pranksters, like trolls. They consider themselves just like, hey, we're fucking with religious people, basically, and that's their whole tenet.
That's the Satanic Temple.
Okay, the Satanic Temple, yeah, and then the Church of Satan, and that's like it's like a blood feud in LA apparently between those two groups. They
Which two groups again?
It's the Satanic Temple
so
and
there's
the Church of Satan, right?
Yeah, there's the Satanic Temple and Church of Satan. The Satanic Temple are just atheists who they like to screw with Christians.
Yeah, they're
That's
the
like
ones
their
that pay
main
for
thing.
the monuments of like Baphomet on public. Anytime one tries to get the Ten Commandments put on the lot of the courthouse, they try to get Baphomet put there too, just to prove the point, and to fuck with of course Christians. But they don't have much of like any kind of like what would you say anything parallel to a religion though, right?
No, they're complete atheists. I mean, it's there's no theocracy or theology to it. Like it's completely just it's like can't think of the word for it, but it's like a humanism. So like humanism, where
Secular
they just
humanism.
believe, secular humanism. That's more of their belief, but then they add Satan into it because it makes it funny in some ways. Like to say like, oh, we're going to put this giant Baphomet statue in a city hall in Houston is hilarious. And so they do that, but then there's the actual Satanists, like the Luciferians, the people that come from like Anton LaVey's like philosophies and all that, who are legitimate Satanists. And
they use some of the same images in Baphomet and those things.
Because it's ultimately still a satanic image, like Baphomet. Like they're doing it, like the Satanic Temple, they do it because it's a satanic image, and it's one that, like, if you're not into that, is pretty shocking. So that's why they pick it.
Though, can be easy to confuse if you don't
exactly.
know.
Yeah, they're doing it on purpose. Like that's part of their shtick. But then, the actual Satanists, like they don't call it a religion, but it's a religion. It is 100% a religion. Yeah.
Fascinating.
And it's a bunch of Dungeons and Dragons dorks trying to bang fat goth chicks. I mean, dude, if you look at this show, Tinfoil Hat, the vibe when Ryan, Off the Grid Ryan, was booking it, and it's just totally 180. Like, he had that fucking idiot Lucius Gaines or whatever his name is.
Lucian Greaves. Yeah.
That guy's a retard. I'll have him.
He is a moron.
Straight to his face. Like, dude, you got a fake name. You're a Democratic, like, fundraiser. And you're just trying to bang fat goth chicks. Okay? That's all you're trying to do.
Anybody raising money for the Democrats and claiming to be, rebelling against the powers, you know what I mean? Like, come on, dude, you're not rock and roll if you're raising money for the Democrats. You're not punk rock.
So dumb, dude.
You're
it's
Springsteen.
So dumb.
You're as establishment as it gets.
Yeah. Well, they were talking about how this is like the craziest like realignment politically that we've seen forever. Now, how much of it is theater? That's debatable, right? But I mean, you have RFK Jr. and Tulsi Gabbard moving over to the Trump side, while all the lizards are going the other way. Like, you have all the aides for George Bush. What's his name? That shot his friend on a hunting trip.
Dick Cheney.
Dick Cheney. John McCain. And all the other swamp people, all their assistants are going over to Kamala Harris.
Yeah. Well, they think she's going to win, and they just want to be on the winning side because they need a job.
I think she's also, she's as much a neocon as any Republican that's run for office over the last 20 years. I mean, the last non-neocon we had to run was George Bush before 9/11. He was, he was a non, he ran on no nation building, but I mean, which is crazy. I wonder, part of me wonders how much that guy, if he was just a stooge really, and he had his, because
there's definitely an argument for that.
You're talking about
genuinely, I feel like he was so convincing because he genuinely believed a lot of the shit he was saying. And I think he thought he was going to do no nation building. And then when he got in there, he just had Dick Cheney and Donald Rumsfeld, two of the most manipulative fucks in the history of politics. And, he's not got all the brain power. He's not working with a lot of horsepower up top. You know what I mean? So when they come whispering in your ear, it's like, hey, don't you want to go into Iraq? Did try to kill your father. He had no chance. That guy had no chance.
No, W was not.
Don't get me wrong, dynasty scumbag, but
yeah, he was not the president. I mean,
no, exactly.
Dick Cheney was the president, and Rumsfeld was the vice president. W was just the lovable mascot, the Ronald McDonald.
The Biden.
That's right.
Yeah. I mean, he was not making a whole lot of decisions in the Oval Office. Like, it was Cheney and Rumsfeld and all the other dickheads that were part of that group who were just going.
You saw that on 9/11. I mean, that's on the record. Dick Cheney was calling the shots on 9/11. We know that.
Yeah. I mean, the Bush family, and then H.W. Bush, I think, had a lot to do with it. George H.W. Bush is one of the most secretly manipulative people in U.S. history. People just kind of love him.
And it goes back to what you're saying about how, if they're too liked, not that he was too liked, but they literally promoted him as a wimp. You're like, he's such a wimp. Dude, look what a wimp he is. Like, dude, this guy helped assassinate the president.
Cutthroat. Yeah.
Yes. I mean, he was the head of he is the top dog in the CIA. Like, George H.W.
monster.
Yeah, George H.W. Bush is a trained assassin. I mean, he just is verbally a wimp compared to Ronald Reagan. So they had to promote him that way because he's not going to have that same bravado. But behind closed doors, George H.W. Bush was doing all those things with the Carlyle Group and the weapons, manufacturing, and that just so happened to be coinciding with 9/11, and that he's meeting with fucking the Bin Laden family the morning of 9/11. It's like, well, what are the chances of that? I mean, and then his family being best friends with John Hinckley's family, and you don't see there's a connection with that, with John Hinckley shooting Reagan in the damn chest. HW was a real scumbag.
A real scumbag, bro. I mean, literally, his dad worked with Nazis, and this Hitler dick riding shit is starting to get out of fucking control. And I do believe in my heart of hearts, even though Adam Green and I don't necessarily agree on every talking point, but I do think he's totally right about this is just a fulfillment of these Abrahamic apocalyptic prophecies, dude. And this whole thing with Hitler's now the good guy. I mean, what a great way to divide and conquer, huh? I mean, what a great, these people are nuts. They're just nuts. You really do believe, not you, anybody on the show, that a country that just got annihilated in World War I on lockdown would allow that dude to naturally rise on his own? Is that what you really do believe? You really do believe that? And he wasn't a fucking sugar baby for all of these fucking centralized banks in America, all these fucking Federal Reserves. I mean, I could prove it to you, but everyone's going to dismiss it. And then all the money sent to the Bank of International Settlements. Nobody can answer that. The way people answer it to me, they had mountains. There's a lot of mountains in Switzerland. That's why he didn't go in, because there's so many mountains in Switzerland. He couldn't. So the people working with the UFOs down in Antarctica were afraid of fucking mountains. Fucking there's mountains. You don't want to go in the mountains, man. Really bad stuff. But you'll go into Russia right before winter, but you won't go in the mountains. Nope. Mountains are bad. But back to what we're talking. It's chaos right now, dude. It's fucking chaos. I don't know why I went on that rant, but it was fucking annoying me, dude. Yeah, I mean, dude. Well, it goes back to George Bush working with with the Nazis.
Yeah.
And like Tucker Carlson's a weird guy. Like as much as I like some of the stuff, like he also is like, what? What's
You
up with
see-
that red band you got around your wrist? And
That's definitely Kabbalah. I mean, that's for sure. That's what it
for
is.
sure,
Yeah.
dog,
Yeah.
sorcery.
Wait. Okay. Not to play devil's advocate, but he's on tour and
You got to be able to spell it first.
No, then I can't.
Okay, go on.
But
'Cause
to play devil's advocate on the road, though, he's on tour with Alex Jones. One of his tour dates is with Alex Jones. So if we're gonna say he's up there, are we gonna say Alex Jones is in on it too?
I don't think we're saying he's up. I don't think we're saying that. He's weird, man. That's all. I just
He's
think he's
weird.
like he might have
He's
his own
w-
agenda. Or I think he's definitely been
definitely
on the
weird.
farm. He's been on the established. Like he's been their guy before.
Definitely, yeah.
And I don't know what he is now, but he's an odd guy. I mean, just some of the stuff he does. Like he'll do these random, like, did you see that video a couple weeks ago where it was just like an ad for the Cybertruck, basically? It was just like, hey, let's check out this guy's Cybertruck on the farm. And it was just this whole video of him dicking around with a guy on the farm and his Cybertruck. So I don't, like, have you heard him talk? He doesn't have a TV. He doesn't watch.
Nothing. He has no
which
email,
tells-
nothing.
which tells
According
me
to
he
him,
knows
yeah.
the evil of it. He he's kind of a Luddite with respect to technology. So he knows that, I don't no, I still don't think I don't think his true intentions have been revealed yet. There's something going on.
It's just super interesting, dude. And it's just like when you study, like, because he's a big guy trying to rehabilitate Nixon's image, and you're like, bro, no.
Yeah, same with Kevin Spacey. You had him on, and there's a movement now among people who kind of are, adjacent to our sphere, who are like, let's bring back Kevin Spacey. And it makes me wonder, like, do we need to do some more research on that guy? No, right? Like, that guy's a scumbag, right?
Yeah.
Okay, because there are a lot of people. Have you noticed that? Like, a lot of people who I would say we think are decent people who have had him on, and have.
Well, Johnny, the one of the things I'll say is, and you've been a kind of a champion of this, is like when you push the Woody Allen, like the story may not be what we think it is.
Yeah, that's why I'm wondering, because I know what I know what happened with that situation.
But Woody Allen, none of the witnesses against Woody Allen suddenly in just a giant rash of like weeks all died.
Yeah. And there weren't a bunch of them, that was insane.
You got like 4 cases and 3 of them dead. Like, okay, that seems lucky.
Let's not remember the commercial he did right before that real weird commercial where he was like
really
in character.
Weird commercial.
Yeah.
Yeah. What a move. That commercial. Damn. Yeah, he's trying. They're trying to give him the Polanski treatment. Like having everybody basically just sign a paper saying, "Hey, we love Roman Polanski," and hoping that that list doesn't come out. Which
it's different when you're behind the camera, though, isn't it? It's
very different.
I mean, he's on camera talent, and people got to look at that face, man. They got to think about the things he did.
That's interesting. Yeah,
but he always plays scumbags, right? Kinda like
always.
He should be like, dude, these are the roles I'm playing. Yeah, I fit perfectly into that.
Yeah, he is. I mean, he's opposite John Wayne. Like he's always playing the person you do not like. American Beauty might be an exception, but even then, he's a fucking pedo.
Good movie.
Like, I mean, he's like a likable pedo.
Think about that, dude.
In that movie.
Think about like how that movie was received, and like versus like if it came out today.
Great. I mean, it won an Oscar. It was Sam Mendes's first movie, and he won the Oscar. Like, oh yeah, that's crazy. There's no.
But no, I watched it again recently. I used to when I was what was that 99 probably. I like that movie. And I watched it again recently, and he's just. Knowing what you know now about him, he comes off like a skis. Like he's really creepy in that movie.
Yeah, he's I've found it so weird. The Kevin comeback is a strange.
Well, he did go on. Sorry, didn't mean to cut you.
Oh no, that was it. Yeah. He's just.
Do you think he'll work though? Do you think they'll let him work again? I don't. There's just too much financial risk. Maybe one of these kind of like, what would you say, like fringe Hollywood movies, that gets made up in Vancouver.
He is doing that. he has a movie coming out like
Oh, really?
somewhat soon, I think, or it's in filming. It might be like in production. Yeah. It's not a. I mean, I thought I saw like an article about it and kind of looked, and it was like some like kind of nothing thing.
It's called Peter 5'8", and he plays Peter.
Wow,
It's
there you go.
dude, come on. Hold on, I have to show you guys the movie poster for this. Is this the least convincing movie poster you've ever seen? Look, they got this toupee on.
Rebecca
Bond.
De Mornay.
Like, come on, dude, you're not James Bond.
When did this come out?
It's 2020. Rebecca De Mornay. I mean, like, it's the 80s. Oh my God,
Rebecca De Mornay. That is amazing.
Look at his toupee too. Like, come on, man.
God, you should have Jason Scott Lee.
Nothing is what it seems.
God,
yeah, it's just really weird, you know.
That's amazing.
It's really weird.
A seemingly glamorous real estate agent in a small mountain community is revealed to be an unhinged alcoholic with a dark secret when a charismatic man in black, that's him, shows up one day at the behest of his shadowy boss. Oh, wow.
Jesus. He's money hungry when he's doing a movie like that.
Oh yeah, that's what the whole comeback thing is. He
lost his house.
Yeah. God, yeah, and there's no YMCA's for him to stay at. Yeah,
we could probably get him to appear in one of our little. We could probably get him to appear.
What's his cameos cost?
I wonder if he's on Cameo. Yeah, it's probably beneath him. He would think. Let's see.
I mean, this movie's.
I mean, he did this movie.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. This movie's not up there.
No, he's not on there. But just wait. I don't. The other thing is that he keeps appearing in character as Frank Underwood from House of Cards, and I don't know what that's about. It's strange. He does it. He did that Christmas message every year for a couple of years in character. I'm sure Netflix is like, will you stop doing that?
He's subliminally trying to bring it back. Like basically trying to get enough people. He's trying to like Ryan Reynolds this thing. Like show an example and get people so like ready for it that they just hard Netflix until they make it happen.
Yeah, if you don't know, Ryan Reynolds was trying to get Deadpool made for years. They let him appear in that terrible Fox, X-Men movie, where they literally had to seal his mouth shut so he couldn't do the fourth wall stuff. And then he had to, independently finance a little test screening of one of the major action sequences in the first film, the freeway sequence. And then they brought that to the studio because the studio wasn't going to wasn't going to invest. And then finally they were like, all right, we see it. Do your R-rated superhero movie, fall on your face. And then of course it became this, the savior of Marvel Jesus, as he says.
Yeah, it's crazy. So let's get into other shitty Marvel shows and people who started them. Jared Leto, that movie came and went. And,
that's the one with Madrigal, right?
Yeah. Poor Madrigal, man. He I think COVID hit right before that, and it was like delayed, and he had
Morbius. Yeah, that was a
great
Morbius.
actor. Magical. He's a good guy.
He's a good actor.
I went and one of the big changes in my life is a long time ago, many moons ago, I did mushrooms at a giant concert. It was the K-Rock Almost Acoustic Christmas, which is they get like, you catch on the right night, they got some murder bands. And I got to see Prophets of Rage, which, I mean, dude, what you want to talk about? What like being called in favors? Like, what is going on with Chuck D right now? Like, Chuck D, like the whole thing was like 911 is a joke and racism, and then he's like taking pictures with Blinken. I'm like, dude, you don't get more the man than that. I mean, it's
really? That's so depressing.
I know.
I love Chuck D. You guys know I love Chuck D. Getting his dick kicked in.
Good. You sell your soul, you should get your dick kicked in.
Yeah, that's wild. I'm a huge, huge Public Enemy fan. I saw Prophets of Rage too, like when that kind of first started.
One of the best concerts. I mean, just crush. And who's the guy that's in Eagles of Death Metal that was in a bigger band? What's that bigger band?
Josh Homme. Is he in that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Is
No, he's in Them
friends with those
Crooked
guys, right?
Vultures.
Yeah.
But is
Yeah,
he in a
Them
big
Crooked
band or
No.
bigger band than that? I forgot what the
Wait,
name is.
who are you?
Are you talking about Them Crooked Vultures?
No,
Are you
who's
thinking
the
of-
lead? Who's the fuck? He played
Big-
drums in
No, Josh Homme was in Eagles of Death Metal, I guess. Yeah. Okay.
yeah, he was
Oh, I
like
didn't know
Eagles
that.
of Death Metal,
Yeah.
but he was the front man for another band.
Queens of the Stone
Well, yeah,
Age.
he's in Queens of
the
Stone Age. Yeah, yeah.
Thank you,
That's his
dude.
main band.
So Queens of Stone Age went up and they crushed it. Like, there was a female photographer getting too close, so he kicked her camera.
Yeah,
And that
yeah.
became, rockstar kicks woman. It's like, get out of there, bitch. Okay.
I like him. He's from the high desert out here. He like plays Pioneer Town all the time. They'll just show up and play Pioneer Town, the small little. It's this old place where they used to film old westerns, and they still have the sets up from it. And there are a few little houses around it, and there's this bar out there with a venue in the back, and they'll just show up and play.
Where is it?
It's in the high desert, like near Joshua Tree out that
I'll
way.
move there right now. I don't even
beautiful.
care, bro. Get me the
Beautiful.
fuck out of LA, dude. I'll move there right now. But the reason I bring up Queens of Stone Age, because they annihilated. And then the final band that night was 50 Seconds from Mars.
Jared Leto's
And-
30 seconds more. Yeah.
30 seconds.
30 seconds. 30
It's
seconds.
50 seconds now. He's gotten older, so
Okay, yeah, it's taking a little longer to get there. 30 Seconds from Mars, and I was like, "What is this guy doing here? Fuck this band, dude!" And dude, they annihilated, dude. They were so good, and I was blown away by how good they were. And I ended up like, "Oh, okay, man, this," it's like my hatred of how pretty he is. Like, fuck you can't have it all,
Yeah. You don't get to become a cult leader without having some charisma, I guess. So makes
God.
sense.
Yeah.
But dude, he's an actor, and he's one of those crazy actors where he annoys people with his method acting. Right?
Yeah.
Well, dude,
Yeah,
I told you I used to date this girl who was one of his assistants. He's got like a legion of assistants, and he lives in that like ex-military base, intelligence base thing up on the hill. And dude, she would. Yeah, sorry.
Zoom agrees with you. Zoom agrees with you, dude.
And she would see some weird shit up there, dude. Like, she would tell me all the kind of just strange things with like, just women showing up in like robes and just weird stuff, like culty stuff.
It's so funny.
What is that group called? Dude? What was his group called? His like fan group?
Echelon.
Yeah, Echelon, right? Yeah, and they would have this like sleepaway camp, adult camp, where they just go there and he walks around like Jesus, just kind of blessing them all.
It's called
Camp
Mars.
Fat chicks.
Mars, yeah, there it is.
Yeah, he has one in LA, and then he now does one in Croatia. The
You seem to know
Croatia
a lot
one.
about Camp Mars.
Look, let me tell you something. So I, whenever I was younger, like in high school, I dated a girl who was obsessed with 30 Seconds to Mars and all she talked about. So I naturally hated them, and and just would just shit on Jared Leto every chance I got.
I get it, dude.
Dude, I hate it. Like, I think he's a mediocre actor, but I do think he's a good musician. But I would just shit on him all the time, and then started listening to them and was like, "Holy fuck, this band is amazing!" And I became like obsessed with them, and it was like, "Holy shit, I'm becoming part of the Echelon," and I didn't even know it. And so I just became fascinated by Jared Leto. I was like, "How the fuck?" Because this music isn't like the greatest music ever written, but why am I suddenly becoming obsessed with it? It's like this dude figured out how to make music that like damn near brainwashes you into loving it, like instead of genuinely loving it. Like it's this weird thing. And then you just find out, oh, he's a cult leader. It's like, well, this makes perfect sense. He's David Koresh if David Koresh was actually good at playing the guitar. Like that's and then so then I just dove into like, that what you were talking about, the intelligence military base that, he has that weird little like art show and art gallery thing that he does there.
Yep.
And I've heard so many stories from people that it gets fucking weird there, like especially with like girls of questionable age.
Oh, snaps.
Yeah. Like a lot of girls where you're like, you're not 18. There's no way. And and him dressing in robes, and he walks around like with his palms out, like he's like in a Mel Gibson
personal
movie, like
Jesus.
yeah, and and now he did one in L.A. and it was kind of like a like a summer camp for adults basically, and it was kind of mild, but
Do guys go there?
oh yeah. It's for
Oh,
anyone. It's
Yeah.
mostly of course it's mostly chicks. Then this one right here, this is the one in Croatia. So now he does one in Croatia where this kind of shit's going on. So the one in LA isn't like that, or wasn't. I mean, it may be now. It was like him just dressed like normal, and he does like concerts all the time and all this stuff. This thing has turned
Like
into
Maharishi. What are we talking about?
Yes. So this has turned into like Midsommar,
Yeah.
just so weird. But that's the one in Croatia, and it's like basically Fire Festival, but
Yeah, they're trying
somehow worse.
You want to be a cult leader when literally Jared Leto is doing the exact thing.
Yeah,
He's boning.
100%.
How many of those? What's the percentage he's boning? Pretty high.
100% of the ones he wants.
He's just pointing. Okay, bring her back. Bring her back. Bring her for the celebration of festival. Bring her back. Bring her back. Bring her
But
back.
all things considered, it could be a lot worse. At some point, Jim Jones had the same power, but at least now you get Jared Leto. Like,
And you know what?
He only kills their ears. He doesn't actually kill their their whole body.
Well, the structure that he owns is that giant house at the top of the hill in Hollywood. You guys ever been in Hollywood? You look up at the top of the hill, you see that weird ass.
Yeah, that's what I was
building
talking about. That
that's the-
intelligence base.
But Johnny, that is basically Laurel Canyon Studio. That's like, and I think, Johnny, correct me if I'm wrong, you Xavier as well, that is where Marilyn Monroe used to go to back in the day.
Oh, really?
Which is like the darker side of Marilyn Monroe that people never talk about. Everyone thinks of the shiny object side, but there was definitely a dark side to her where she would go up to that studio, and they said dark shit was going on there.
Yeah, I mean that makes sense. They were filming propaganda there, so
But I think they were filming other things there too.
Well, I mean, purportedly. So this is like a shot of the. It's a massive complex. Apparently, some of it's in a state of disrepair, is what I was told by the person that worked there. But I mean, it's got these almost like guard tower kind of situation here.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Strange.
use some of that fat chick cult money and fix the place up.
Yeah, I mean, he's got enough scratch. I mean, I would imagine.
Oh,
I would love to
he's
see
got more money.
an episode of Fix This House. Just see going, okay, we're going to go down to that BDSM dungeon area. Okay, we're going to clean it up. This is how we see this room. We're going to add some color to it. Get some new chains and some new whips in here.
Yeah.
And he's just walking across the swimming pool. Like,
yeah. I'm
I forgot. You guys don't have the power to walk on water. Walk around. Meet me at the other side.
He's like kicking dildos out of the way from the night before. Like, oh shit, how'd that get there?
yeah. I mean, he is like, there's him, and then there's like a little overlap. But I don't know if heard of the Color Society. Have you ever heard of that? So do you know Max Landis? John Landis? John Landis directed American Werewolf in London, the Thriller video, Twilight Zone movie. He killed Jennifer Jason Leigh's dad.
What?
Oh, okay. So John Landis directed one of the segments of the Twilight Zone movie. Oh yeah, he also directed Blues Brothers. But
Coming to
directing the Twilight Zone movie, there's this part where he has the actor Vic Morrow running through this Vietnamese lagoon, and a helicopter's chasing him. And meanwhile, Vic Morrow is holding two little Vietnamese kids. John Landis kept telling the helicopter pilot to go lower so that it would look more cinematic. And the pilots are telling him, like, no, we can't keep going lower. This could be dangerous. He says, fuck that. I'm paying you. Go lower. Helicopter pilot goes lower, cuts Vic Morrow's head right off with the helicopter blade, and then crashes, kills both of the kids, who were legally not supposed to be on set because it was at like 1 a.m. Yeah, there you go. So Morrow and Lee were decapitated by the helicopter's main rotor blades. Yeah. And so this is all because of John Landis. John Landis not wanting to miss the shot. And John Landis got in zero trouble for this. Steven Spielberg kind of like helped bury it because Spielberg was producing the movie. And then he went on to do a bunch of other stuff. But
Three Amigos.
Yeah, Three Amigos. Yeah, that's
Spies Like Us. I love Spies Like Us.
That was a great movie too. Yeah, so John Landis is that guy. He has a son named Max Landis who wrote a couple things. He wrote the movie Chronicle, which is actually kind of a good movie.
That's a good movie. Yeah, that's a weird take on like Superman origin story kind of thing. Not really Superman,
but so Max Landis is also a real piece of shit. And he has a group called the Color Society. That's him and a bunch of other like, you know, kind of half-ass Hollywood kids who basically Max Landis is their cult leader. And they do these things called like color parties. They do this like giant Nerf war that like hundreds of people go to in and around LA.
Oh, I've heard about that. Yeah. Or seen like maybe.
Yeah. So he does that. It's called like the Nerf turf war thing or something like that. It's like a huge thing. But he basically runs a cult and where he like, you know, abuses the women in the cult. Like, I mean, it's a legitimate cult ran by the son of the guy who killed, Jennifer Jason Leigh's dad. But it's very adjacent to Jared Leto's.
Jason who?
So Jennifer Jason Leigh, you know, from Fast Times at Ridgemont High and Hateful
80s.
Eight. Yeah, 80s, single white female. Her dad is the guy, Vic Morrow, that got his head cut off.
And then nothing happens. Dude.
Not a single thing. Parents of the Vietnamese kids, the two kids, nothing. They didn't get anything. I mean, it's just, yeah. Sorry. Yeah. Which actually Spielberg, they didn't get a sorry, but
they didn't even get a sorry.
No.
Steven Spielberg is so dark.
Oh,
dude.
yeah. He did the slap video, Max Landis, too, where it was like strangers slapping each other in the face like 10 years ago. It was kind of like a social experiment where you just had strangers slap the shit out of each other.
Yeah. So that's Max Landis's thing, is that he refers to everything as a social experiment, a little Shia LaBeouf-ish, but he refers to everything as a social experiment instead of a cult practice, because social experiment sounds less criminal. But yeah,
that's not nefarious at all. It's a social experiment.
Exactly. But that's what he does. I mean, and it's like, you know, I think like Danny Masterson was in the group. I mean, you know, a lot of people who, you know, have a bit of a record now were in this group. But yeah, there's apparently a lot of those. It's not just Jared Leto or Max Landis. I mean, it's like,
I'll show you a quick hold on just a second. I'll get the sound for you.
Oh, that guy gonna smack the shit out of that fucking Asian twink?
That's exactly what happens here.
Oh, Haley Joel Osment. He is part of the Color Society, by the way.
He's in the Color Society?
Yeah.
That tracked.
Hi,
oh, yeah. So I got Punch a Chick.
Nice to meet you. Okay.
You look nice.
Yeah.
I'll slap the shit out of a twink. I don't care.
This.
Oh, shit.
Hey, Shane.
Hey, Jamie. So we have to slap each other.
Yeah.
I have to take off my glasses beforehand.
Oh, you're a nerd.
Just because I'm a nerd.
Okay, you don't want to say that.
Okay, I would take the rings off too, please.
But is this what inspired slap fight, league, or what's that?
How do we start this?
It's at a million. Views is at a million. That's crazy.
Do you want to go first?
Wish they'd invited me to this.
Okay. All right, just do it.
Oh! Whoa, she didn't even wait.
Sorry.
Adding scars to my heart.
Oh my god! Oh my god!
Oh shit!
Okay.
Oh!
Oh, she got all of it. What is?
Oh, this is weird. You're right, man. This is some kind of.
Someone jerked off to this.
I can't hear now.
Max Landis did.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Like, just let's make even though they're not pets, you know, these are all rich kids. Oh, that's your girlfriend? You smack the fuck out of them? Oh! Oh, well, you're allowed to have a beard?
Looks like every guy in there's a faggot.
We keep hitting each other? You want to do it again? Hit you again?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's go.
You can get first.
You go first. Yeah. Okay, we got that one slap out, and now we're kind of.
We're gonna do one of these. And then we're gonna do one of these.
It's so strange.
Dude, listen, dude. Everyone's in the BDSM. Rich people are in the BDSM.
That was
bored,
him,
huh?
by the way. That was Max Landis at the very
Oh
end.
wait, okay.
Which one?
I believe. I'm like almost 100% sure. The guy at the
Right here,
right there, that's
Yeah.
Max Landis.
Oh yeah, that makes sense. Look at that guy. Anybody who cuts their sleeves like that is a piece of shit.
Yeah. He so yeah, this turns out to be a bit of a fetish that Max Landis has, and every single person who's in this video are his friends in that color society.
Oh well, it turned into spanking real fast, huh? Look at this.
Yeah, of course.
What a shock.
Everything's got to go to butt. I don't know. I mean, have you seen Instagram lately, dude? It's just nothing.
That's your Instagram. Let's.
Yeah. Okay.
It's mine too.
That's
Yeah,
your
I tried
outward-
not to, bro, and it's just like, how is this not pornography?
Oh yeah.
Don't follow a
Here.
bunch of big ass models. That's how you don't
Trying
have a
not
bunch
to,
of big
dude.
asses in
I'm
your feed.
really trying not to, dude.
I have a social experiment idea here. We buy Sam a new phone and we figure out how long his algorithm goes back to his normal algorithm.
You know what's so funny? That's a
one
great
day, maybe.
idea. What's really crazy is like if you ever want to see how your algorithm is affecting you, log out of your account and just go to the front page normal, and it's a different reality.
Yeah.
It is. Dude, I had to do it because I got logged out of mine a long time ago. And whenever I went back in it, I was like, oh, this is what a normal person sees.
Yeah, or just like I'll pick up my girlfriend's phone, and it's just like you said, a parallel universe. It's completely different. Completely different timeline to mine.
So let's wrap this up here. Let's get into some Oklahoma City bombing. What do you want to talk about? Elam City? What's Elam City?
So yeah, it's so there is a conspiracy that obviously Oklahoma City bombing. I mean, some you may know, committed by Timothy McVeigh, and supposedly, allegedly was alone. That he's just a guy who was real mad at the FBI because of what happened, and the federal government really because of what happened in Waco, and which is true that he was at Waco selling anti-government bumper stickers. But there is the official story is that he was just a disgruntled citizen who wanted to take some people out. The conspiracy is that he was actually part of this group in this city called Elohim City. There was like this white nationalist city that all these people live in these like big trailers, and that they were funding him being able to pay for all the bomb making equipment, because this is a ton of stuff. I mean, it's not something that because he was only like 21, I think. It's not something the average 20-year-old can pay for and do himself, even though he had military experience. So the conspiracy is that he lived at this city for a while and was trained by these white nationalists who wanted to take down the government. And this is obviously at a time in the 90s where militias were becoming like a bigger thing after like Ruby Ridge. And in a lot of the reports, the early reports, the people who say that they saw Timothy McVeigh earlier said that he was with another guy. And they've all given the same description of who this guy is. And who that guy most likely is one of the white nationalists from that Elohim City. And basically the government has been trying to bury that since 96. So
do you know who the guy is that they think it is?
So the theory is that there was this German national who came to the U.S. who, family were Nazis. He did not let the family down and stayed a Nazi.
Not a family business.
Exactly. So that he came and lived at that Elohim City and basically was kind of in a way, kind of a cult leader within that society, like very charismatic, and obviously him having like this German heritage that the people there, find that to be pretty appealing. And he's loaded, came from rich parents who did very well.
Here we
as
go
Nazis.
with rich kids.
Right. And so he allegedly was one of the people who was in the truck, in the moving truck that Timothy McVeigh was in, that had the bombs in the back.
Unbelievable, dude.
Yeah. And there's a ton of stuff about that city, that Elohim City, and them just it being like a hotbed for white supremacists who have done. I mean, you can look at the people who have lived there at some point. They're almost all people who have been either high-ranking members of the KKK or have murdered people, or both.
Dude, it is crazy. If you're going to start a militia, you definitely want a guy with a thick German accent giving you the playbook. You're like, dude, this guy knows what he's talking about. Dude, he's got the best goose step moves possible. His choreography is on point.
The straightest legs you've ever seen.
And it's just like now we look back at like how naive we were during this OKC bombing, and then we like fast forward back to like the Michigan governor getting kidnapped, or the kidnapping plot, and then we go to January 6th and we just see it's a giant Fed operation. Like how many of these people that bought like bumper stickers from Timothy McVeigh were all just like feds? Hey, you young whippersnapper, I'll take one of those wonderful bumper stickers. You're doing great work. What are you up to?
I mean, that's the theory. I mean, is that there was just this, it was not just this one crazy person. And Terry McNichols, or Nichols, I think is his name. Terry Nichols was the other guy who kind of helped him, who also got the death penalty. But he's not the guy who was in the truck with him. Like Terry Nichols was back home in like Michigan or something. And actually, if you ever watch Bowling for Columbine, they interview his brother at the place where they were making the bombs. And it is one of the most bizarre interviews ever. But it's, I mean, there's just this like massive underworld of like white supremacist militias that it's kind of probably died down a little, because a lot of those movements do, like, they kind of lose steam.
People age out.
They
don't want to get involved.
Exactly. So it's probably not as big of a thing now as it was in like the late 80s into like the late 90s, but it was a massive thing. I mean, you can find almost nothing about it in any like government resource. Like it's like it's like their version. It's like the COINTEL program. You know, if you,
I mean, we just see this over and over again. How many times we see like rich, like, or just well-funded organizations funneling money to just like young retards. They just get these young retards to do these stupid things. It's like the old Spider-Man meme, right? Where it's like you have like 10 Spider-Mans, they're all pointing to each other, and they're like fed. Some autistic fuck, fed. And that's exactly what happens.
Yeah.
And then you get into all the weird shit about Timothy McVeigh, his death, like how nobody actually saw him put to death. Nobody actually saw his body being taken out. It's all this crazy ass shit. And it's just like Oswald, where it's like, hey, dude, we had this giant impact event happen, and 2 minutes later, we have the guy who did it. How convenient. Doing stupid shit that just got them instantly captured. Like, oh, you're going to assassinate the president. What's your next thing you're going to do? Let's go watch a movie.
Yeah. Let's go shoot a cop. That never attracts attention.
Let's go sit in a movie theater. Perfect thing to do.
Yeah, shoots JD Tippett, who was also a questionable connection. I mean,
who looked exactly like JFK.
I mean, there's just so much of that. You're like, okay, hold the hell on. Like,
what the hell? What the hell? You know?
Yeah.
Same thing with Timothy McVeigh. It's like, oh, you just blew up this giant building. Let's drive a car with no license plates and guns in it all over the place. Great way to like hide.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And then get arrested. And the only reason you pretty much get caught is because they're playing the news story on the TV in the jail. Like, okay, sure. Like that does
How convenient. Right.
Yeah.
I mean, you have a show literally dedicated to that, called The First 48, that if they don't solve the crime in 48 hours, it's pretty much done. And here are these giant impact events, and they got the guy within an hour.
Yeah.
Oh, let's not forget the passport that got laminated. I don't know where it got laminated, but they find it after the Twin Towers.
Oh, 9/11.
Yeah, let's not forget that one.
Yeah. Yeah, well, those lamination machines, they do a pretty good job at
They really
keep things
sealed that.
safe.
They're made of adamantium, you know. Very-
The craziest version of that was when I saw it happen in real time, the San Bernardino shooting, where it went from four guys in black military fatigue to suddenly it was like, yeah, dude, this Middle Eastern guy who just had a baby decided to go crazy.
Yeah.
Him and his wife decided to bail on their child. It's such a bullshit story, but it gets into just like, to go full circle. It's like, how much of these cultural events are real?
Yeah.
I mean, you saw the. I sent you a little article or a little video about the Las Vegas shooting. How there's like, if you really look into it, there's like phone calls here, phone calls there, a bunch of phone calls going everywhere, and you're like, how did you guys not? It's just a lot of stuff going on. That's another one where I think it hasn't even been looked at all.
No, I'm with you 100%. That Vegas shooting, there is so much suspicious shit about that. Where anytime that they feel like they're trying to hold information, it's like, well, why? Like the guy's dead, so it's not like it could hurt the the case. Like there is no case. The guy's done. So why are you trying to like hold back information? Same with like the Kennedy thing, like all this stuff. Like, oh, I have to wait 70 years. Like, how convenient that all these people are going to be dead when this information comes out.
And how many times have we heard people promise to release one or the other thing, and then they get in office and they're like, "Oh yeah, okay, maybe we can't release this." I don't know. I don't know if.
Trump.
Trump. Yeah.
Well, yeah, and Biden even paid lip service to that idea too. And he was, it came during his term that it was supposed to have been released this most recent time. But it makes it, I think one of two things are true. Either what they find when they're allowed to see the files is so potentially earth shattering that they realize the danger of it, or the people who tell them not to release it are murderers. So I think it's one or the other.
Well, both.
I mean, it could be both. Yeah,
probably both. Yeah, I mean, because there's so much of that information that even whenever they show like the redacted information and then you're able to find out what the redacted information is, you're like, oh, that's interesting. Like but
is it crazier than the CIA killing JFK? Like we kind of already know that. Do you think there's more, like way more? Like,
it's called Mossad.
Possible.
Yeah.
If you're Trump and you're Kabbalic, what is it called, Johnny? Kabbalistic sorcerer, okay? You know who butters your bread or bread your butter, either one, whichever way you want to go.
I like a lot of butter, man. I like a lot of butter.
You like a lot of bread on your butter, Johnny. That's what they say about you, okay? You're not gonna put that out, and it's just coming out. I mean, it's just like, I don't know, man. Thank God for X. I know it's not perfect, but man, thank God. A lot of shit talking going on there. A lot of information getting out. But yeah, dude, it gets super crazy. So today there's a big shooting in Georgia. And of course, it's election season.
Yep. Time to have the debate.
We're being told children have lost their life. We send condolences to the family. That's a tragedy beyond any understanding, is to lose a child. But here we go. Right around election season.
Yeah.
Crank up the hysteria. And, they just put out this weird kind of just frequency. And it just bang, all these pharmaceuticals, all this propaganda, all this who knows what kind of subliminal messaging that's going on in these things. Triggers somebody, they go fucking nuts. And here we go. And dude, these Democrats have zero problems with weaponizing children's deaths. Unbelievable.
Yeah. That to me, like, obviously politics is in most ways just a game. Like, it's who can play the game better. But there's some parts where you're like, well, that shouldn't be part of the game.
Yeah.
Like let's maybe avoid using kids getting shot in the head as a talking point. to promote an issue. Using it as a talking point to like bring people together and say, you know, we don't want this happening. That's different. But to be like, now here's what my campaign is going to do about it. You can get fucked. Like, no.
And the worst part is that even if they do, let's say they do ban the Second Amendment, they're not stopping fucking school shootings.
No, because they're not stopping guns.
Exactly.
You're just
That's the thing,
making only bad people having them. Which, whoa, that sounds great. Yeah.
And it's not just having them, they decide who gets them also. You know what I mean? Like who can act, and that's, you know, for them to be the gatekeepers of that kind of power is just, I mean, it's such a pain in the ass. To buy a weapon out here in LA for because I want my girlfriend to have one in her name, you know, just like a shotgun here in the house or something. And you have to go take like a quiz. She's got to get like, it's like getting your GED basically. You have to go get this. It's so ridiculous.
Is that by county? Or by state?
I think it's the state. Yeah, I think
it should be state. Yeah, I mean Texas, it's about as easy as it gets. But...
Oh yeah, North Carolina now you don't even need that. For years in North Carolina, you had to have a pistol.
Dude, I hear you can go to 7-Eleven in there and just buy a gun. You go, give me two Gatorades and one shotgun, please.
They'll just hand it to you. They don't.
You can just go to a gun show like
toys with Happy Meals in North Carolina.
Yeah, they give you a couple of shotgun shells. With
you want the Despicable Me or the shotgun with the kids meal?
It's not the best shotgun, but it'll get it up.
Yeah.
It's just super sad. Now they're already talking about how this school was warned about the shooting was about to happen, did nothing.
Yeah,
and
Texas again.
The story starts to fall apart, and that the mechanism for control completely ignored. So these tragedies happen. And we'll see what this is happening in real time, guys. As you hear this, more information might have come out. We don't know, so we're waiting to hear it. But again, just like in the Vegas shooting, just like in the Parkland shooting, things don't make sense. Will we hear that they had some kind of simulation earlier in the day before it happened? We'll find out. It's just, again, everything is a sorcery trick. Everything is a manipulation to manipulate your energy. And that's why, like, again, one of my buddy who I love with all my heart is like, are you spreading this kind of stuff? I'm like, if you don't know their their playbook, you can't know when they're running plays. Yeah. You know, it's like we should all be the New England Patriots filming the other team's offense.
Yeah.
So we know the exact plays they're running.
Yeah. You know who else was doing that? The Canadian national soccer team got in a lot of trouble just like this year for using drones all the time, apparently.
Yep.
Everybody knew it too. And the United States was so worried about pissing them off because they have this World Cup bid together, you know, that they didn't report it. That's how they just kind of stuck up. You know,
that's amazing.
Isn't that crazy?
Listen, you want to listen to Tinfoil Hat so you can be John Gruden and go to the Super Bowl and play against your team that didn't change any of the plays that you ran the year before. You want to know the plays they're running. That's the point of Tinfoil Hat. You want to know the plays they're running.
That's it.
You know? And that's why we're like, that's why it's like, oh, this thing immediately starts to fall. People are already ripping this shooting apart. Like, and it's sad. It's just sad. It's just truly sad. Well, Cody, this was better than we could have dreamed of. It was a great conversation. I just yelled at you the whole time. Can't wait to hear the comments. Well, go on.
Good.
Sorry.
Oh no, I was gonna say, man, I appreciate you having me on. I mean, this was a blast. I mean, I'm used to being yelled at. It ain't nothing new. So
anytime you're interviewing porn stars, Johnny would love to come on and just...
Oh yeah, it's funny. You know, I tell Sam as often as it's appropriate, and probably a little more than that I wish I had been here when the Naughty Show was in full effect, because it would have been a great time. Don't you actually? That would have just been fun, huh?
I would have cleaned the floors.
Oh, I
like
wouldn't
a
do
real
that.
Mexican. Like a real Mexican.
So you'd actually do something on the show. Is that what you're
like
talking about?
Mexican.
You'd actually have a role? Showing up here fucking high and doing micro shoot, just shit grinning the whole time.
Everybody has to have an Ed McMahon. Ain't nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
Hey now,
Cody, real quick, tell them again where they can find you.
So Instagram is at the Cody Tucker and YouTube at just the Cody Tucker Show. That's the two places.
Look at that
All
smoke
right.
show. Look at all the smoke shows on there.
Stop creeping, dude. Please stop. Oh, look at that. You just go to where it's tits.
Yeah, well,
Just go
yeah.
there.
Do what you got to do.
Hey, dude, push product, bro. Push product. We know what thumbnails work and what thumbnails don't work. All right, let's break down the show. Powerful Cody Tucker coming in here, living the American dream, dropping the hammer of the gods. Okay. Getting into it. Wonderful conversation. I love to talk to people like him, making it happen wherever they are, building an empire, talking to adult film stars. That's how it goes, right? Or as I like to call it, Johnny's dream.
Hey, mine too.
Xavier, you're trying. They just won't come talk to you. You're in the bad section of town. They won't even come talk to your ass. It's crazy.
But that's what they like. They like it circumcised. Those professional sex workers. That's
what happens when you have a snuffleupagus, buddy. The porn stars don't want to talk to you, and that windsocked.
You think I can do it at this age? You think it's doable? You think I can get that fixed?
What, you go get it cut off, bro? You want quality content? Go do that. Dude, put that on your YouTube.
Dude, it'll be on my blog, guys.
Check out my blog.
You should
I mutilate my dick. Well, what if that is your lowest rated video too?
I'd be
like
so
you cut your
pissed.
dick and nobody even watched it.
That's
No, but he's got me scared of culture. I used to love the Mexican culture, and I'm wondering if that's another CIA infiltration of the Mexican culture.
If it's not now, it will be for sure.
Yeah.
If it's not now, it will be for sure. Make no doubts about it. You will. They like what they're doing with country music. Now everybody's flooding into country music. Now they got rapping in country music. Like, gross. Johnny's ancestors would be rolling in their graves outside his house.
So we're 100% facts that there's probably a CIA podcast out there right now, infiltrated
Oh
podcast.
my God, it's got to be, yeah, without a doubt. I mean, there's got to be. I mean, like it's really, but it's hard. How do you get people, Johnny? You be good on. How do you fake numbers on like Apple Podcasts?
I mean, you can just pay. There are these Chinese, phone farms where they have. It used to be they literally had people touching them. I think they figured out how to automate it now. There's a great YouTube video about the modern version of it, but where they just have people subscribing and letting the thing play, and they download the episode. Yeah, I mean, you can fake numbers for sure if you have the money to do it. I mean, I think we know people who have done it.
Didn't Pod Save America get busted doing that?
Oh, did they? I don't know. I was thinking
I saw an article where they
comedian.
broke down that was a giant. All their numbers were complete bullshit.
Look,
Yeah,
Sam,
the
you
problem
want
is
to?
now you never know if you remember it from somebody who's actually a real source for information, or if you remember it from some guy who tweeted it on
Just
Twitter. You know what I
chaos.
mean? Yeah.
Let me show you some fake numbers right here, Sam. At least I think this is some fake numbers. New releases in men's cap. Number 1, Kamala Harris. I'm with her with 7 stars. You really think that should be number 1?
7 stars. What do you mean?
Oh yeah.
Oh no, 7 5-star reviews. Actually.
Yeah. That's like fake numbers. Like, how would that be number 1? Who's buying that? Then you go
about? Where's this from?
and then
on Amazon.
Amazon.
Oh,
Amazon. And then you go to
and
number
reviews.
3. You go number 3, which is Make America Again, but yeah, it has more stars. How does that make sense? How does Kamala come before first when it has less stars?
It must be they bought more like this week or whatever, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
but-
what it is. I mean, like when everyone's like Tucker's he's a bigger podcast than Joe Rogan. It's like, no, the way the algorithm works is like subscriptions play into the numbers.
New reviews. Everybody
so his
listens-
show's newer.
Yeah, everybody's already reviewed Joe Rogan.
Yeah, it's just crazy to me. I mean, dude, you get into it, everything's a culture is astroturfed. It is crazy when you discover all the crazy people Marilyn Monroe was banging. It is, and like the way they present her is just so insane. And like she literally was you know what she was, guys? And if you don't get sports, you may not get this analogy. She was a Kevin Garnett of crazy hot chicks who have no ability to bond, right? Like Kevin Garnett was like this new kind of power forward that's 7 foot, but ran like a scoring forward, right? They'd never seen that before. And here comes Kevin Garnett. That's Marilyn Monroe. She was like this new kind of super hottie that could get any guy, but had no ability to bond with them. She couldn't pair bond. So she just kept going. Everyone just wanted to make her quote unquote an honest woman, and she just couldn't do it.
Yeah.
A lot of tragedy in that life. A lot of tragedy. And then who knows what's going on with Jared Leto, dude? Who knows, dude? Who knows?
Yeah, he's well, yeah. I mean, I've had a lot of thoughts about that guy for a while.
Army of 5s and 6s.
This is the kind of episode I like the most because it's just the hang. You know what I mean? Everybody's just kind of we're lobbing.
If you go to, I mean, before he came on, I followed him on Instagram, and he has some historical facts. Like he goes down the history. Like I thought we were gonna go deep down to that, but it was more like culture, which we can have him on again. Oh, trust me, I've been following him on Instagram. He's great.
He is great. I really love it, and it was a fun conversation. And it's just like, listen, people go, does it get exhausting? Being conspiracy theorists? No, it's not. It's actually quite not exhausting. I don't trust any of them, anywhere, anytime. So that's kind of where I live my life. I don't trust these politicians. I don't trust these fucking Hollywood celebrities. I don't trust any of it. It's just, they just keep, even someone like, I mean, like, they just keep coming out and just being like, all the offspring of aristocrats. It's so crazy to me. Over and over again. Yeah. Again, it's like, oh, I didn't make it. No, dude, you entered a rigged game. And it's not your fault. I mean, it's Hollywood needs to die. It really does. It needs to die and then have a resurrection.
Well, if it does die, it will have been a suicide because they are killing it,
inflicting on themselves. Yeah. I mean, just hot garbage.
I mean, isn't it kind of dying? Didn't I hear something about like Hollywood Universal got a studio in Vegas or something like that? And then we talk about Atlanta taking up a lot of movie space. Isn't it about to die?
Yeah, but here's the problem. I think there will always be a central base, and that will be Hollywood.
I get what you mean.
But I just don't know if the infrastructure will be there the way it was before. I think home base will be Hollywood, where all the talent goes to pitch their ideas. But I just don't know if you're ever going to have traditional Hollywood. But with that said, when we kind of see, we kind of go into, like how before there was only 3 networks. Now we're getting to where there's only like going to be 4 streaming services. And if they don't like you, you're shit out of luck. If you want to do it, if you want to make studio money, now you can go do what our good friend Hibbler does. Heil Hibbler. Okay. What Hibbler does, he makes his own high-end quality content that bangs with anybody's. So that's what the future is to me. The future.
So you think all the streaming services one day will combine? Hulu's going to combine with Max one day just to make it all.
Hulu's already a part of Disney.
That is right.
Yep.
And then Net Geo owns like Max and HBO.
Net Geo?
Is that who it is, or Discovery, Johnny? Who is it?
Yeah, it's Discovery. Yeah. Yeah.
All right. So yeah, all right. Go to SamTripoli.com. Check out these websites. Check out these my website. A lot of great things going on there. Go to SamTripoli.com. All my videos are there. All my premium content. We got the Johnny Cash Reads the Bible, drive-bys, deep conspiracy rewinds, AMAs, you name it, all there. Dangerous there. Johnny Cash Reads the Bible, only place you can get it is SamTripoli.com. The Patreon.com/Cash Daddies is on fire. We're gaining more people every day. It's a great way to make money in a crazy ass market. Only $20 a month, which sounds like a lot, but when you think about all the money that you're going to make, if listen, and you could lose money. I mean, it's just the way it is. It's markets. But Johnny, how's he been doing?
Yeah, I mean, we would never make any kind of. This is a lot. Half of this is about education. Yeah, we're banking fatties. That's how he likes to say. But half of it is about learning things because the markets are fickle. Things can happen. We're obviously not.
But you got to write a giant community.
He's done a great
together.
job. He's crushing it. Yeah. That said, he's crushing it. And there's it's a huge community of people sharing ideas. It's like if the people at Wall Street Bets weren't insane. And instead we're like smart, but and it was a little more intimate of a community. That's what we have over there. So yeah, if you want to get in on, early on some really good ideas, that's the place to be.
Yeah, check that out. Okay. Also, if you go to SamTripoli.com, our social media, go down, Johnny. Go down. Go up. Okay. Go right there. Nuke Social is killing it right now. People are going on there. You're tired of you want to talk to people, get you. Go to Nuke Social, okay? TFH, the Tinfoil Hat Telegram group is doing well, and the joined the Zero Telegram is doing great too. We also have our affiliates, okay? Go check out. We got Buy Gold and Silver. I already talked about that. Rife Technologies, AquaCure Hydrogen Brown Gas, Harley Ray, Swarm 15. You can get 50% off. Chemical Free Body. I use that supplements every day. Every day I use those supplements every day. Okay. Then Joel Staley, if you're looking to get in shape, get rid of that dad bod and get into a Greek god bod. You want to be a 300? Go to Joel Staley. EMF Rocks, Prometheus. If you're looking for a off the grid, decentralized website, they're the best at it. And of course, our good friends for microdosing, Brain Supreme.
Where's your special?
Oh, my special. I'll have the announcement. It's officially done. Dana and I are going to talk about it when we're going to drop it. Anything else, guys?
This is becoming Boy Who Cried Wolf. When is this?
I know. I'm just trying to figure out because I got to do a lot of traveling to promote it.
People want to hear this thing.
I do too. I'm very excited. All right, guys. Enjoy these highlights. Real quick, guys. What do you want to promote?
Go to Extreme Marks the Spot. I got a fishing vlog that's almost at 10K. Great time. Go to Extreme Marks the Spot on YouTube, please.
Yeah, I saw that actually. That was cool watching you guys out there. Get the big fish. Yeah, there's just you can see them in the water. One guy had, he almost had a huge fish. It seemed like, but something happened. I'll leave that for you guys to
cliffhanger.
But yeah, come check me out on Twitter at Johnny Woodard.
Okay, guys, enjoy these highlights.
Here's a clip from the latest Broken Sim. Now, the reaction to this story makes me think it's probably legit. Now, someone leaks a contract between Travis Kelce. This is all alleged because we don't want to get sued. Between Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift.
If you're Taylor Swift or Travis Kelce, if you listen to this podcast, we're only saying alleged.
Yeah.
It's alleged.
Yeah, definitely. Probably not even true. Let's be honest. It's probably
not
true.
Johnny. I got my opinions. Go on.
No, I'm saying that to cover us legally.
Okay, Johnny. Oh, that was some legalese right there.
Yeah. We know how to play the legal game.
We sometimes we don't.
Yeah. Well, okay. So this is one of many tweets about it. This says a document bearing the letterhead of Travis Kelce's PR firm is circulating online, indicating a contract that mentions the couple's planned breakup on September 28. The text for the announcement has already been drafted. Here's the quote: to effectively manage and mitigate the fallout from the breakup between Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift, ensuring Travis Kelce retains a positive public image, minimizes negative media portrayal, and continues to build his personal and professional brand. Now, I've seen a lot of PR language, and that fits right in with the way they talk about his image and his brand.
Totally smart because he knows what happens when she leaves a guy.
Oh, yeah, she writes a song about how big a piece of shit he is.
She writes an album about him, and all the Swifties hate him.
Now, here is just a picture. It looks like it was taken from a snap. It says, this is on Emily's desk right now, and it's that letterhead, that full-scope letterhead. I'm just going to read
By the way, Emily just murked somebody after this, by the way. Emily had to murder somebody.
And then she got murdered, probably.
And then she got fired.
Yeah. Maybe fired. She hopes she gets fired. Okay, I'm going to kind of zoom in on this here. The document is intended for internal use only, of course, it says at the top. key messages from the document: respect and privacy. Emphasize what the breakup was, that the breakup was a mutual decision made with respect for each other's personal lives. Stress the importance of privacy during this period to allow both individuals to focus on their respective personal growth and careers. Professional focus. Highlight Kelsey's commitment to his career and his ongoing achievements in the sports industry. Showcase recent milestones, upcoming games, and his involvement in major sporting events. 3. Personal growth. Frame the breakup as a natural part of life and an opportunity for personal evolution. Share how Kelsey is focusing on personal development, blah, blah, blah. I mean, it's a whole media strategy for managing the breakup, and then they have a date for the breakup. September 28th, like we said. They have interviews with certain outlets named here, like sports outlets, ESPN, Sports Illustrated, The Athletic, lifestyle and entertainment magazines. It lists Vanity Fair. It goes on and on like this. It's got talking points for people handling the media, focus on Kelsey's recent achievements, like we talked about earlier. Isn't that wild?
By the way, very in-depth hoax, very deep.
And that's what I was saying.
Very detail-oriented.
And now can I just say really quick before you give your take? They could not have more aggressively come out and denied this thing, which makes me think probably real. I'll just say. So.
Well, here's the thing, dude. You have to, right? You have to make it seem like Taylor Swift is always either in love or a burnt lover, right?
Yeah.
Because that's how she relates to her audience.
It's her brand. Yeah.
Which seems to be more and more childless women. Right?
Yeah, they're growing into childless. They were girls, and now they're women, scorned women.
So she has to say in the relation. There's a couple things I'm going to say first that makes me say I don't believe this, but then I'll tell you why I believe this. Okay.
If you'd like to hear the rest of this episode, subscribe to Broken Simulation in your podcasting app, or check us out at youtube.com/SamTripoli.
We go deep, homeboy. Aaron, open your mind. Drink from the fountain of knowledge. There's lizard people everywhere. That's some interdimensional shit. Wake up, Aaron.
This is only the beginning.
Dude, you just blew my mind.
Tinfoil hat.